Leaving the aircraft at Alpha Aviation, the team travelled into the centre of Tokyo for 2 days of sightseeing. As expected, they discovered a culture steeped in tradition existing alongside the ultimate shopper's paradise. Equally interesting was finding out what Japan's fashion-conscious youth are currently getting up to. As it turned out, in Tokyo these days, dressing up is all the rage. All good fun. But back at the hotel, the team was about to receive some devastating news about the next leg of the journey into Russia.
Well, of course, when we got to Japan, we got this notification saying that our clearance had been turned down.
There are certain countries in the world where getting diplomatic clearance for overflights for private aircraft is really quite difficult. That's largely because they're not used to the concept of private aircraft and making airspace available for them. Now, Russia is one such country, China's another.
They said, look, choose 3 routes and we will approve one of them. In the bag, so we thought.
Then you can overfly these countries, but it's no good trying to leave it to the last minute and bounce them into clearance because they simply won't do it.
All our clearances I applied for either directly myself or through Overflight Micro's company.
Jennifer had gone to great trouble to get air traffic control clearance and planning her route, and done that very carefully, very meticulously. What she had overlooked until very late in the day was the need to supplement that with diplomatic clearance, that is, to go to the Russian government and get permission.
After 8 days of waiting, and with still no sign of those clearances, the team decided to get out of town for a short break.
We're on holiday and we're going somewhere. We're going somewhere. This is the important thing. It's cause for celebration and happiness.
They headed for the mountains outside Tokyo, where they holed up in a ski lodge belonging to some friends of Jennifer. While the support crew tried to relax, Jennifer continued her ceaseless quest for flight clearances.
The thing that's saving our sanity at the moment is being up here in this lovely chalet up in the mountains. At least we've got fresh air and walks and something better to do than looking at a small patch of sky in Tokyo and costing a lot of money.
We've been reduced from a bunch of adventurous crusaders into idle games players in a wooden shack in the middle of nowhere. That's it.
It was, without doubt, the most stressful time.
We did our best to help her, and I started by talking to the Russian ambassador here in London.
Despite Lord Powell's diplomatic efforts, back in Tokyo things still looked bleak, and the strain was beginning to tell.
When you say the defence section, is it just that they haven't heard from them, or? Okay, I mean, they have to wait. They have to wait for something from the Ministry of Defence, do they?
After 16 days of being stuck in Japan, the team were willing to try anything to relieve the monotony.
Check the rear doors are okay. I gave Colin a go in the helicopter and got him started on learning to fly a helicopter, and he gave me a go in the microlight. And I have to say, it's a stunning way to fly. Very, very funny.
And what do you want? What is the message? You have a fax for me. I went to everybody I knew who knew anybody who knew anybody.
The Foreign Secretary, Robin Cook, talked to his opposite number. And finally, the Prime Minister got in touch with Mr. Putin's office. So this was taken right to the very top.
Between all of these contacts, somewhere along the line, something gave, and we finally got those clearances. There are no conditions other than what we put down in the first place. We can go whenever we want. There's no time date on it. I mean, it's all go.
everybody was just jumping for joy, you know, and it was just a mad scramble to get out of the place.
I think it's absolutely fantastic, because Wednesday morning we'll be going north.
There are cumbersome procedures, they're a bore, but it's usually best to observe them if you can from the beginning. If you don't, then you have to have a bit of extra influence to get your way.
This is it, guys.
Finally, after 21 days, the team had permission in black and white to fly through Russia.
It took a long time to really sink in. We're on our way. Today's a really feel-good factor. Other than the fact we've all had about 3 hours sleep, but, you know, we're back in there.
Bidding a fond farewell to their good friends at Alpha Aviation, the team took off from Tokyo and set course for Russia.
That's pretty spectacular. Okay. 1,380 feet.
Just leaving Japan, coming into Russia, and this is really a hardcore part of the trip now, for starting.
Their destination in the former Soviet Union will be Sakhalin, the island lying east of the mainland, south of the ice-cold sea of Okhotsk. In Yuzhno, Sakhalin, the hospitality and the vodka were both excellent. More than can be said for the fuel, which Colin needed to reach Oka in the north of the island.
Not much option, there's no avgas here at all. We brought some in, but the helicopters have taken it all. So I've been lumbered with the cheap stuff again, as usual.
Really, the only problem is slightly whether Oka will keep their airfield open for us for Colin, because it's 6 hours for him to get up there. But I tell you, once he's nearly there, they're going to have to keep it open.
Time for one last look at the weather reports before the long, wet flight to the north of Sakhalin Island.
How far north we've been going. We're actually at 51 degrees north now, which is basically the latitude of England already. You can't help going this far north from the tropics without going through bad weather.
And out of the grim weather emerged a grim-looking town, Oka, a throwback to the days of centrally planned Soviet living.
The airlines, when they're flying over to the States from Europe, talk to this place. This is a radar station for the international airway.
Облачность до 5-6 километров. Надежда, минутку, ладно? Все то же самое, дай консультацию у меня.
Anyway, I would not take that.
And that's 1,800.
All I'm saying is the wind there. I don't need to.
It's best to wait 2 or 3 days for people's lives.
Absolutely.
Oh, I think there's no question one should not take risks, and that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I think you should, if you feel you're going to fall out of the sky, we wouldn't feel too good about it.
Well, you know,
At the moment, I'm not going to go. That's basically, I think everybody's disappointed, but safety's got to come first, really. Taking a lot of risks on this trip, and this one I think is just a little bit too risky.
I'm putting on the tie down. It's a bit windy, and just in case it gets any windier, the blades might flap around a bit, which isn't very good for them. So we're going to tie it to the front of the helicopter. It's a bit of a shame to delay, because the weather might start to get really bad, and we might wind up getting stuck here for quite a long time if we don't go now. We should really take it while the weather's good.
The following morning, the view from the hotel window revealed better weather, so the team prepared to leave town.
well, we're doing our refueling now, We're paying all our various parking. We're arguing about the Met charges, meteorology charges. They're trying to charge us $250 for letting us see the weather report.
The crew had enjoyed more terrific hospitality during their stopover in Oka and were genuinely touched when many of the citizens turned out to see them off. But behind the smiles were some very real fears. The Challengers were about to embark on their most dangerous flight so far. Between them and the Russian mainland lay 400 miles of freezing cold ocean, the desolate sea of Okhotsk.
We're finally far enough north, the water is going to be so cold. We wouldn't have much useful consciousness if we did go down. And so we're wearing these. It's got a thermal lining inside and it's a waterproof suit. The collars are rubberized and the neck is rubberized. And the feet are sealed, they're in little socks. This will buy us the time to make the difference between living and dying. If it comes to that.
Thank you. Onward and upward.
This sea is so remote, it contains islands which are listed on charts as existence doubtful. 2 hours into the flight and a terrifying spectre looms out of the fog. A vast pillar of rock known as Ioni, where only seals and seabirds can survive. 4 million in all, and each one capable of bringing down a helicopter should it fly into a rotor blade.
Oh man, that is thick with birds. Quite extraordinary. Like the way the wall has come up.
A mechanical failure now would mean certain death. In this fog-shrouded ocean, no search and rescue team would ever find them should they have to ditch.